Ladies and gentlemen, why is it so important to work accurately and to use a punch and a stapler correctly? You need to be proud of what you do in everything that you do. And it's amazing how important stapling, and punching really is in everybody's life. Let me explain, and please hear me out. Every punch has a thing that you pull in and out that has page size numbers on it. Now, very often, this reading can be inaccurate because it moves back and forth, and it's difficult to keep it still when you're punching and to ensure that every single page that you do is always pulled out to the exact same place. May I suggest that you remove this piece, because every punch should have an arrow on it. Can you see it? Now this arrow cannot move. This little triangle there will show you exactly where the center of your paper is if the paper is correctly marked. Let me show you how this works. If you have your documents, always ensure that all the papers are lying in line. Then what you do is you fold them over and you ensure that the corners are all on top of each other, and then you make a small mark, fold with your thumb and your point finger, and when you open it up, it has a little mark on your document. Then you know this is the center of your paper. So now what you do is you take your punch and you move your paper inside your punch until it cannot go in any further. Then you know that your margin where the hole should be in comparison to the edge of the paper is correct. Now always ensure that your little mark that you made on the paper, that little fold, is pointing onto the triangle, onto the arrow that is on the punch. When you are confident that that is in line, then you push and you release. And then you have two holes perfectly in the center of your paper. Why do we have to do it that accurately? Let me explain. When you file these documents now and you receive the next documents, which also need to be punched, if they are punched in a different place to these documents, your papers in your file will not be in line. Some papers will lie like this, others will lie like this. Then some will lie higher up and closer to the edge, which means they're going to tear more easily when that file is being used. And that's why it's important that everything is in line, because then you know that it looks tidy and you can be proud of the work that you've put together in your file. And this is not only valid for when you are in a working environment. This is also valid whether you are in school, whether you are a teacher, whether you are a student, or if it's your home documents and your home filing. Be proud of what you do and add value to it. This is a stapler. Now, did you know that this little thing at the back of a stapler is actually there not to scratch your head, but it's there to remove staples. Now, you can either use this little thing to remove a stapler, or you can invest in getting a proper staple remover. It has 4 very sharp teeth in the front, and it's extremely useful because by using this, you can ensure that you are not tearing your paper. I will demonstrate that a bit later on. Okay, so now stapling is something that is so simple actually, because everybody uses a stapler nearly every single day. Well, the majority of us do. Whether in school, whether at home, whether in an office environment, even in the shops. to staple your receipts together. Why is it so important to staple correctly? Now, did you know that the staple is shaped long with two hooks that hold the paper in place at the back? It's like that for a reason. It's not just there to hook the pages together, but it's also there to provide stability for when the paper is being lifted up. I'll show you what I mean. This is how you use a stapler correctly. You use your stapler and you put it you put the corner of the paper into the bottom of the stapler. Now, always hold it at an angle to the corner of the paper, but not too close to the sides, because then it will tear. And when you've got it at an angle, then you push and you release, and then you'll see that the actual staple is at an angle. Why? When you lift now, you use the document and you open it up. Can you see that both ends of the staple actually hold the piece of paper in place and it gives it support, that it doesn't tear off? I'll show you what happens to the document when it's being used if it's been stapled incorrectly. Now we're going to use the staple remover, and we're going to start off at the back where you have your two pinchers, and you put your teeth into those pinchers, push it closed and release. Do not pull it. If you pull it, you're actually going to tear the paper. So now it's standing up like that. You can see it there. And now we're going to turn it around and we're going to use the same method. It's going to be so much easier now by just biting into it and pushing it. And then you can gently release and pull out your staple. Now, please ensure that you put your staple into the bin, because you wouldn't want this to end up in someone's foot. It can be quite painful. Now, okay. We have a stapler, and this is what happens the majority of cases, and I really see this every single day. Put the paper into the stapler and we push and we release. Perfect. Great. Everybody's happy. Not me. I'm not very happy about that, because now your staple is in line with your edging of the paper. It looks nice. It looks neat and tidy. But if I start lifting up my page to use the document, you see what's happening? It's starting to tear because you have a sharp edge of one staple at the bottom, and the staple is not in length with where you open up and close the document. It's not giving it any stability, and it's going to start tearing off. And that is why it's important to put your staple, into the corner at an angle and release, and then when you open it up, it actually supports it on both sides. That's how to use a staple. Now, if you staple your document together and you see that only the one end side at the back is holding it nice and firm, the other side's all crooked, you test it, it's still all together. Please don't leave it like that. Use a staple remover, remove the staple and just staple it again, and ensure that both ends at the back are nice and closed. If one side stays open, it can hurt someone's finger and it's quite painful when that enters your finger, or the pages will start loosen from the document and then they start getting lost. Sometimes it happens that the one side is just a bit crooked and you think it's okay, it's also holding it together, but that crookedness is very loose. It doesn't hold the paper in place, and again, you will lose your documents. Be proud of what you do, even if it is punching and stapling, and make sure that your documents are safe, whether in school, whether at home, or whether in your workplace. Thank you very much for listening to me today.